My name is Michael Oni, and I'm being joined by my friend and also my colleague Sampson. Good afternoon to you, Sampson.
Good afternoon to you, Michael. Well, it's a special edition, and very, very special because we have a special guest on this day joining us, distinguished Senator Mao Ohuabunwa, representing Abia North Senatorial District. Good afternoon to you, distinguished, and welcome to Flow 94.9 FM.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be with you. I hope we're going to flow together.
Of course, that's the spirit.
Okay.
Well, the National Assembly election is just a few weeks away now, and I'm very sure that you've been getting on with the campaigns. But we're here to talk about your bid to return to the upper chambers, exactly. And then what you've been able to do for your constituents. That's why we're here.
Well, I want to thank you for giving me this platform to urge my people once more to return me back to the Senate, the red chambers of the National Assembly. And actually, while others are going around campaigning, I've been going around presenting my scorecard. Because those who are really campaigning are those who want to be elected. But for me, I'm already on the seat. And I think what I need to do is to go to my people, present my scorecard and say, look at, you sent me on an errand, look at what I've been able to achieve. And based on that, I think I'm competent and qualified to be returned back to the Senate. Because I believe that if within less than 4 years, because I hope you are aware that at a point my election was truncated, I had to come back for a rerun. So ordinarily, I'm short by 7-8 months if you want to talk about the tenure. But for the fact that well, the parliament is the tenure of the parliament, not your tenure as it is in the executive, where your tenure begins to think from the day you're sworn in. But for the parliament, or for the parliamentarian, is the tenure of the parliament. So I lost about 7-8 months because of that rerun. So I'm barely 3 years or thereabout in the Senate today. And if I'm able to achieve all that I've recorded in the my scoreboard, which are verifiable, I think I'm going around telling my people that I plead with them, and I think they should return me back to the Senate.
All right, we're live on YouTube at Flow 949 FM. You can watch what is happening right here in the studio. Now, the distinguished senator, let's start with your scorecard. Why the people should definitely, it will be a way to showcase what you've done and to tell them that you want to do more. So let's see your scorecard. What have you done?
Well, first and foremost, I believe you know the function and the primary responsibility of a senator, a legislator. Is lawmaking for the peace and good governance of the people.
Okay.
And which means you're also the voice of the people. You should represent them effectively. Then after that, you'll be able to attract some what we call dividends of democracy or some developments, be it human resources or infrastructural development. And I think as I present my scorecard, you will also help me to declare today to Abia North that they have no reason, really, to send someone else than Senator Mao Ohuabunwa, because I want to tell you that I had been in the legislature before. I was in the House of Representatives for 8 years. I was the deputy leader of the House of Representatives. I was the head of the ECOWAS Parliament. And for 8 years, what I have been able to do or to achieve within these 3 years, by the special grace of God, I marveled personally. I remember one time some of your colleagues went out with me, and after showing them or showcasing what I've been able to do, they asked me as a minority senator, that is because we are not at the federal level, if we're able to attract this, what if you are in the majority party? So having said that, I always want to start my presentation from the legislative perspective first in terms of representation. Like I said, you are there to make laws for the good governance and peace of the state. When I went into the Senate, what I did first, knowing that in the Senate, first and foremost, you need to be put in committees. That is, we function through committees. And with hindsight and with my knowledge, I had a program, I had a vision, I know the things I want to do to give Abia North an effective representation. And coming from the background that we have been left Our infrastructure in Abia North have been left unattended to for more than 10 years, and they are all in a dilapidated state, especially the road infrastructure in the entire Abia North. Whether you're talking about Arochukwu or Hafia, whether you're talking of Bend Arochukwu, whether you're talking of Mpa, or whether you're talking of Akole, or you're talking of Umumbe Imenyi, or you're talking of Umuhu, or Ugwe Kezuku, or Alai, or you're talking of Achara Umuchi Akoma in Arochukwu, or you're talking of Abam, or Uzitem, or Iskuato, Umunochi, Uturu, our roads are in their need of repairs. Repairs. So based on that, I felt that one thing I should do to give me the leverage is to put myself in the Committee of Works, because that will give you the pedestal, the opportunity to influence certain things as a committee member, and I lobbied. Today as I speak, I'm a member of the Committee on Works.
Okay.
Two, I looked at the issue of health. You find out that they say health is wealth, and part of our major problem in Abia North is health facilities, and we needed health facilities, especially the primary health care clinics. And I also worked myself to be in the Committee on Health, which by the grace of God today, not just being a member of the Health Committee, I'm the Chairman Senate Committee on Primary Health Care and Communicable Diseases.
Okay.
But amongst all other committees, the king of the committees, that is the boss top, is the Committee on Appropriation. Because whatever you talk about, whatever you do, you talk about funding. Funding is utmost, so ultimate. So what I did was to also lobby to be in Appropriation Committee. Appropriation Committee is one committee that you don't have everybody from the state. You have, it's on zonal basis. That is what you call it, geopolitical zone. So you have about 10, 12 persons out of the 109 in Committee of Appropriation, quite competitive to be a member. Well, God in his infinite mercy favored me through the leadership. I'm in Appropriation. So these three committees particularly, in addition to the other 5 or so I belong to, I felt that had given me the platform to now move. So when that is preparing me for the job ahead, especially as regards infrastructure, but that is by the way, I start my scorecard by telling you what I've been able to achieve from the legislative perspective, like I've said. Now, you talk about motions, you talk about bills, you talk about petitions. Petitions are means of readdressing or addressing injustices done to people from your constituency, like those you are not in Flow FM. As your senator, any day you're being unjustly removed from this place, or your salary or your entitlements are not being paid, the right person to go to is me as your senator. I will ask you to send a petition to the Senate. Then I will raise it on the floor if I have the guts, if I have what it takes. And from the raising it on the floor, it will be taken to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges, who will now look at it. Luckily, I'm also a member of the Ethics and Privileges anyway. I'm in the committee. So I've been able through that to correct some anomalies and injustice. Mainly, I call it injustice. Anomalies could be light, but we can still take anomalies. But I tell you, I have a chief or a traditional ruler in my place, I don't need to mention the name here, who was disengaged after meritorious service without paying his entitlements. And I took it upon myself, and I want to say today that the Senate had resolved that that traditional ruler should be reinstated, even though his age, but reinstated and paid his entitlement, he can voluntarily retire. I have a military officer, a very young, brilliant, articulate military young man who had gone through several trainings, just below 45 years, quite below. But for no reason, he was disengaged. This came to my knowledge, I took it upon, and one person, not just raising it, I follow it up. And today, as I speak, the Senate had resolved through the Committee on Ethics and Privileges that that guy should be reinstated, not retired. He should be reinstated, and I think that must have been done. There is one pathetic one. A guy who went to there's a supermarket, very popular supermarket in Abuja. He went to do shopping. I don't know what happened. He was shot by a policeman. Today, as I'm talking to you, he's an amputee, and he was abandoned. The case came to me through petition. I raised it on the floor of the House, on the floor of the Senate, and as I speak today, the boy is abroad. I think he's from Ohafia, and the police is burning and bearing the entire cause. But this is somebody ordinarily they had gone away with it. They thought they have finished with him. So I'm just giving you some few because I can't go through them. If you look here, I have my scorecard, or I have what they call chronicle.
Okay.
This has articulated everything I've been able to do in the entire
4 years or thereabout.
Yes, in the entire senatorial district.
Okay,
but for the benefit of Thomases, I decided to also bring them down. Like if you look here, this is his quarter. I will give you.
You can point it towards the camera.
This is his quarter.
Okay.
This is purely for his quarter, so that people can see and verify and confirm.
That's exactly where we're going to, because in this climate, politics is gauged in terms of service delivery.
Yeah, sure.
By bridges and roads and all that.
Yeah, that's right.
So, in their local balance, bridges, roads, empowerment, and all that. How have you fared in that?
Yes,
area?
no. But I want to come. I don't want people to misunderstand what a parliament or what a parliamentarian is, because this is an opportunity for me to educate our people, so that they will be able to appreciate when you attract bridge, when you attract road, when you attract hospital, empowerment. They will appreciate it, knowing that primarily that is not your function, because in as much as because of the level of our politics now, people just look at a parliamentarian. Once you're elected, you should provide everything, but it's time to begin to educate them so that they will appreciate when you do all that. So what I'm saying is that I started from the point of petition. I finished with petition. I go to motions. Today, I have more than 25 motions attributed to Senator Mao Ohuabunwa, and many of them have been resolved. I give you simple ones. Today, maybe people on the road now, from December, you didn't see roadblocks anymore. But some people are, I expect those of you who are in the media should know that Senator Mao Ohuabunwa was the one who stood on the floor of the Senate to raise a motion that my people are being disenfranchised by people, our economy is being battered, because for you to drive from Enugu to Aba or to Port Harcourt, you waste so much man hour, because at every 100 meters you have a military checkpoint of police. And what are these? What were they doing? Most of them doing the right job. Some are there to extort money, and at a point it affected our economy. So some people even got disenfranchised. They got disinterested in traveling, because that is the means of our business. You have to travel to Aba, you have to travel to something. I stood on the floor of the House and raised that motion, and I think today you've seen the result, because the Senate resolved. You remember there was a time we had gully erosions and all that, and the Aruchko-Hafia Road, which is ongoing now. When I moved the motion on the floor, the Senate set up a committee, an ad hoc committee that came, led by the former Minister of Works, former National Chairman of PDP, distinguished Senator Engineer Barnabas Gemede. We came and toured around the entire Abia North. And you can see that today, because we went back and followed legislative process, after that, the Senate adopted the recommendations of the committee. We built it in the budget. Today, go and see the level of job going on Aruchko-Hafia Road. The quality, solid job. I even came from there. I go and see, you will marvel. But I'm not coming into infrastructure. I'm only building up. So, today, Abia North, if I'm not mistaken, I stand to be corrected, is one senatorial zone that had been surveyed completely by the Rural Electrification Agency. What was the reason? When I went to the Senate, I stumbled into a document that showed people didn't know that all this time the NEC, National Electricity Regulation Commission, their act states that every year they must remit their surplus to the Rural Electrification Fund every year. But this agency has been in existence since 2005, and nobody knew, and they've been getting away with it. Luckily for me, because of my study, I stumbled into that, and that it has to be through a motion by the National Assembly, which is the Senate and the House of Reps. So I crafted a motion, and till today, I stand to be corrected. That is one motion in the history of 8th Assembly that nobody opposed it. It was a unanimous decision because we were all affected. When I raised that motion that NEC should remit so and so amount annually into the covers of Rural Electrification Fund, from where rural electrical agencies projects will be funded, because they've been depending on budget, and you know that budget cannot be enough. Today, if you look at just recently, there were adverts by Rural Electrification Agency from the funds garnered from the funds realized through REF. So I moved that motion. Based on that, people I wanted to go and look for, they came for me, and one condition I gave after that, I said, fine, if you are here, I want you to go and survey the entire Abia North senatorial district. They've surveyed the entire Abia North senatorial district. A few days ago, I commissioned the light in Ozuitem. Come and see the joy. People had been out of life for 6 years. Already we are to do Amebu or Hafia, but we've left that till next week. We went to Ozara. The light project is going on. Okagwe in Item. The power project is going on. We've just finished one at Okoko Item. From next week, we'll be commissioning that. These were products of that motion. The same thing as we speak today, the line linking Squatter and Umunochi is going under the Rural Electrification Agency. So most of these projects would have been completed, but for lack of funds or releases. But like I said, I'm linking up two things together. I'm using my motion to show what the motions have attracted. So what I'm saying, after that, several motions, I'm just picking a few, but you look at this. Then you come to talk about physical, what do you call it, bills. Which is the main function of the legislature. Today, in the history of 8th Assembly, only about 65 bills have been assented to.